the antenna. Can you see me if I'm standing next to the antenna? You can still see the bridge and stuff. No, you cannot. I gotta be sitting like fucking over there. Right? Yeah. I wasn't supposed to actually record anything tonight because I already have like 4 videos I have to work on, but when I was driving, so I usually go out on late night drive there. I'll take a pause every time a car comes by. But basically almost every other night I take my rounds, driving around doing a bunch of bullshit. When I came out tonight, I saw 2 car crashes. Unsure if they were fatal, but one of them definitely looked fatal on the way here. And it just kind of really inspired me to want to talk today to the camera, even though I already have, like I said, I have 4 videos I gotta work on. So this is really kind of for me. A lot of it comes down to just kind of who you are. What are you gonna leave behind? Something I talk about a lot. Perception is another thing I talk about a lot, and a lot of that was put into fruition last night. Seeing those people die, it really is.
Happy birthday! Happy birthday!
It really is. Who are you? What do you leave behind? What do you leave behind? And so seeing that again, I'm very used to seeing death and shit like that. I have a lot of friends that passed away through them with my genes. But the mentality on how you approach life, a lot of the things you should do them as if your life depends on it. Because it does. Right? Every choice you make, everything you do results in who you are now and who you are now. And there's no one event that's really going to do it. There are moments where that can happen. You get locked up, you could lose a degree, you could fail an exam, do stuff like that, but no one moment really defines you. This guy I met not too long ago, I don't remember his name, but I know his business was called NB Photography. This guy, he was locked up for the better part of a decade, and he got out like a couple months ago. He started his own photography business, went to photography school, he's doing all the shit for himself. He just started a new life, you know? There is no one moment that defines who you are. A lot of that is based on you. A lot of that is based on perception. How do you perceive these events? When you fail, when you lose an exam, when you go to jail. How do you perceive these things? What is the result of it? It's all very deeply tied to perception. Everything that happens to your life, good or bad, has information to give you. Good things have information on how to keep winning. Bad things have information on what to do to avoid. When you're doing something bad, if you fuck up, when something goes wrong, you shouldn't be thinking to yourself, oh, poor me, or oh, poor this, poor that. That lowers your aura. That lowers who you are. That's not your highest self. That's something I talk about in quite a few of these videos, is that you should always give yourself the highest regard. You should always be in your highest self whenever you think or whenever you speak. Because your thoughts conceive your reality. And at first that comes down to convincing yourself that it is so. And the more you do it, you believe so it is. I kind of like doing this with all the vehicles coming by because it forces me to break up what I'm doing. It forces me to really think about how I want to perceive my message. All things good or bad, they have a message. All things good or bad, they have the information to give you. There are long applause with these people look at. Every event in life, good or bad, has information to give you. That's how you should perceive it. You should not perceive good times as, oh, I'm doing so great, everything is awesome, everything's perfect, I'm the best person ever. And you should not perceive bad times as, I'm a shit person, I'm a terrible person, everything I'm doing is wrong. What's wrong with me? You shouldn't perceive good and bad that way. It should be the same. It should be, what is this telling me? What information am I getting from this experience? Some things give more than others. Some things give valuable things. Some things are just, don't stick your hand in a fire. Don't throw money in a pit. Don't sleep with some girl you met for the first night. But there are some experiences in life that have genuinely valuable things. Everything you do should be based on information, right? That shift in mindset that really unlocks who you are. Because when you're at your lowest and you do all these things, they become ritual, habitual, almost, right? And when you're starting to break out of that, when you're becoming who you want to be, it's difficult because you fall back to these things. If something goes wrong, what are you going to do? You're going to go smoke weed, you're going to go drink, you're going to go enjoy yourself, for lack of better words. You know what I mean? You're going to fall back to these habits. You have to be able to escape those things, right? Because you have the information, you know your feedback, you know if you do these, you know you do these things as a response to negativity, right? You cope, you escape. You shouldn't be escaping that situation, you shouldn't be coping for that situation. You should be looking at that situation and telling me, okay, what can this teach me? And once you find that out, you shouldn't return to what you do. If there's a spot you go to whenever you're sad, stop going to that spot. If there's a certain strain, I'm not telling you to quit drugs or quit smoking weed, I'm not saying that. If there's a certain type of drug, quit that drug. If there's a certain strain of weed, quit that strain of weed. If there's a certain beer, quit that beer. Your mind believes what you feed it, subconsciously or consciously, awarely or unawarely. If I'm drinking this beer because I would always drink this beer when I'm down, I'm keeping myself mentally in that same spot. Your brain needs proof of what it's doing to believe itself. That's why I told you in one of these other videos, I don't know if I'll post that one first or if I post this one first. In one of those videos I mentioned that I say affirmations in the morning and at nighttime. Because in the beginning you were convincing yourself of something, and then the more you do it, you believe yourself. When you tell yourself in the beginning that anything in the world you desire will be yours, you have to convince yourself of that. If I tell myself that now, I believe it. Every bone in my body believes everything in this life that I want, I will get. And I don't doubt myself for that, because I've taught myself to believe that that is so. When you naturally believe that is so, your brain will catch up. When you naturally believe $10,000 a month is easy, it will catch up. When you naturally believe you can land 200 clients in sales, it will catch up. You naturally believe that you can achieve the physique you want, it will catch up. All these things, right? It culminates. Your mind is very powerful. You should never underestimate your mind. Even jokingly, you should not talk bad about yourself even jokingly. Your mind does not know the difference. You don't know the difference between if you're joking about bad things or not. People you keep around you must be very wary of them. There are snakes in the grass. I'm not saying your friends are snakes. I'm saying be wary of the people you have around you. That's not to say you should leave your friends if they talk bad about themselves. Be careful how they talk about you. Be careful how they play with you. If you have friends that are constantly, mocking behavior, or friends that, oh, it's just joshing around, they make fun of your looks, or they make fun of your physique, or they make fun of your financial situation, but it's just playing around. Don't keep those people in your life. As you get on this journey, one of the reasons I say you should not keep these people in this life is because one of the biggest things you will learn about, not necessarily used by Satanists, but used by a lot of people in general. It's a notion that people adopt subconsciously, but it's referred to in Satanism and some other occultist religions, and occultist beliefs, I shall say. It's called karmic retribution. People believe that so long as they tell you, they are absolved of guilt for doing it. If someone is saying something bad about you to your face, they will say something behind your back because they believe they are absolved of that guilt because they have said it to your face in a joking way. But on their own, it's not joking. I understand it can be different and it can be harder if you're in school or you're at a job, because these people you can't just immediately quit. These people you can't just make disappear because you have to see them every day. But you should distance yourself from these people. Me personally, if someone is ever in my life that tries to make fun of me, even joke, right? I mean, jokingly, of course, there's limits. I'm not telling you to never joke around or fuck around with your friends. Of course, you can do that. I'm saying be cautious and be wary of the tone, and be cautious and be wary of the people who are doing it to you. Be very wary of that information, right? Be incredibly wary of who they are and how they act. Some people walked by and I kind of lost my train of thought there. It scared me. The idea is that everything in your life you should do as if your life depends on it, because it does. Everything you do in your life, you do it in the form of your highest self. You should never talk down to yourself, even as a joke, even meaning it or not meaning it. You should never talk down yourself. You should never look low of yourself. You should always be in your highest point. You should always be your highest self. It may not be at the moment, You might have a slip up, you might do bad, you might go to jail, you might fail an exam. There might be things in your life that go wrong. You shouldn't look at these things as going wrong. You should look at this as the lens of information. What can this tell me? What is this giving to me? The universe is going to teach you the same lessons over and over again until you get the point. They will teach you the same thing over and over until you get the point.
I feel like I need that.
I promise, so it is. Be cautious of your environment, be cautious of the things around you. When you're in a low spot, what do? Avoid those things, change these things. Perception, how you perceive the world changes the world around you. If you perceive all these low things when you're low, that's all you will ever see. If you're able to change your lens and say, what is this telling me? And then you're able to use that information to move forward, you should cut out the things that are keeping you back. You know, I'm not saying to quit drugs, quit alcohol, quit things that bring you to that state of mind. Maybe that means friends even. Leave friends behind. When people talk about, when people say that they switched up on their day ones, that they left their day ones and stuff like that, they don't mean that as in they got rich and they disappeared. They mean that as in they saw who these people really were. Right? Some people in your life, some people in this life will want to see you succeed, but they won't want you to succeed more than them. Keep the people around you that positively influence you, that positively bring you good things. You can have friends for all scenarios, right? You can have friends to drink, you can have friends to go to the bar, you can have friends to do all these things with. But be wary of them, right? Who you surround yourself around is who you become, ultimately. It's good to have diversity, it's good to have all kinds of different friends to do all kinds of different things, but never let one thing consume you too much. There's a whole life out here. You know, some people, like unfortunately tonight, like I had saw, some people left this world early. Some people were not fully able to live out their dreams and live out their aspirations. They lost their life on a random Monday night. Nothing was different about tonight. They thought they were going to go home tonight, go to bed. It's going to be a new day tomorrow. The day is not promised to you fully. Never is. Never is. And when you realize that, things change. When you realize that the whole day is not promised to you, things change. If you were to leave tonight, what would be different? What would you do if this was your last day? Would you make amends? Would you be a better person? Would you have given that money to that homeless guy? Would you have stayed and talked to that person? What are all these things you would have done differently if you had known this was your last day? You should treat it as such because you don't know. You never know. I've talked about this in quite a few of my videos. I treat each day as if this is my last day to be here. Whenever I'm out with this car, and if people see this car and they want to talk to me about it, I give them the full story. My friends, if they're with me and they see me with this car, they usually get pissed off because they're going to hear the same story 20 times. But to me, that doesn't matter, right? To me, I always tell the same story about this car, the full story, every single time someone inquires about it, because if I live one time, I want to be shown as humble. I want to be shown as, yeah, you know, I took pride in what I owned, and I was willing to share my success with my fellow men. The life you want, you can will it into existence, and I am firsthand proof of that. I am proof, and I will continue to be proof of it. And I firmly believe if you can remove good or bad and look in terms of information, things will change. Not necessarily that things will change, but you will change. The things around you will change as a byproduct. I'm not saying to not feel emotions, I'm telling you to be cautious. I'm telling you to develop the understanding of why. Don't just feel, understand the feeling. Understand how you got there and understand what you could do better to achieve it again or to never achieve it again. When I speak of being your highest self, I wanted you to join me in a little experiment here, just with the thought of anxiety. If you've ever wanted to post videos about yourself, how I am, right? A lot of my videos, they don't do necessarily the greatest. That doesn't really matter at all, right? Because I'm expressing who I am. That's all there is to it. If you ever were held back about because you wanted to make videos or you wanted to do music or whatever else you wanted to do, what truly was stopping you? What is the difference between you and your idol? What is the difference between you and anyone in this world? There is that. We're all human. Your path is not my path, and my path is not your path. But that doesn't necessarily exclude me from being able to do the things that I do. If you never made the videos, or if you never made the music because you were afraid of what people would think of you, that's not truly your highest self, because you know you can achieve the things that you wanted to do. You are stopping yourself for the fear of imitation, for the fear of being laughed at. If this truly is your last day here, why wouldn't you be worried about what people think of you? If this truly is your last day here, why wouldn't you want to live as your highest self? If this truly is your last day here, why don't you treat every decision like your life depends on it? Because it does. Everything that I've said, those past 3 statements, all I've spoken is true. Today it could be your last day, you don't know. Today could be my last day, I don't know. So why would I want to limit myself? So why would I want to care about what others think? So why would I not want to be my highest self? So why would I not take every decision as if my life depends on it? So why would I not take every piece of information and dissect it and understand what I could do to be the highest form of myself at all times? This all cycles back to the idea of perception. When you change the way you think, you change the way you perceive the world. And when you change the way you perceive the world around you will change. The world around you will change. And you will be able to see things through the lens of your highest self. And when you're able to see things through the lens of your highest self, you will start acting as if you are living on the best day, the last day you could have. The mind is an incredibly powerful tool if you know how to use it correctly. And this is something I cannot say with confidence that I've mastered it, but this is something I'm on my way to. And this is something that I'm hoping that the more I speak of it, the more I can enlighten you as I enlighten myself. If this is your last day, what will you do with it? Think on that. Because it could be.
You're turning into a skeleton.
Yes. And here's how you can do this at home. First,